Well, it's Thursday, and that means part two of our preview shows here on the Audible. Cecil, Lammey, Sigmund, Bloom, San Francisco, and Houston. This one could be more interesting than maybe we thought a few weeks ago. The 49ers side, who's healthy, who's not,
Yeah,
basically.
every week.
Isn't that, yeah, every single week. It's the same exercise. So once again, fantasy GMs with 49ers are pouring over the injury report.
And maybe sees it doesn't mean as much because they've changed their mode on offense. Was it simply because of Atlanta? Was it simply because they don't want to go into the teeth of an Atlanta pass defense that made Josh Allen look pretty frustrated and uncomfortable? Maybe. Or maybe it's just that with George Kittle back, they can run the ball and not throw to George Kittle. Love George Kittle apologizing to fantasy. I mean, just sees how far we've come in the 20 years of this show where we wouldn't say the word fantasy in an interview with a real football person because we were ashamed. And now George Kittle is apologizing to us. Will he be apologizing to us again this week? Probably. A lot of Christian McCaffrey. Yeah, he's back. Brock Purdy might be back. Don't start him if you can help it because it is a tough Houston run defense. And again, pass defense. And again, San Francisco wants to run the ball. Juwan Jennings is getting healthier. If Brock Purdy is back, it isn't like Kendrick Bourne did much last week. We thought maybe some of that was his chemistry with Mac Jones, having played together for 3 years in New England. I don't think we're going to get Ricky Pearsall back. So I guess if you're going to play a receiver, it would be Juwan Jennings. You're probably going to play George Kittle. I can't imagine playing anybody over him except for Tyler Warren this week. Again, that doesn't mean that we're going to get much out of him because San Francisco looked very comfortable as a run ball control team. I don't think there is a mode of the Houston Texans offense that is comfortable for them, Cease.
Yeah, they're very uncomfortable. Now, defensively, they're more than fine, but offensively, I mean, Xavier Hutchinson, that's their number one, right? And then we'll look to the Cyclones rookies, but we're talking fantasy football, baby. You're going to need some more help than perhaps what Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel can provide. So, what to make of Houston's offense?
Yeah, everything is dysfunctional. You change the offensive line, you change the offensive coordinator, and it still looks, go through a bye to adjust things. It still looks the same. It still looks rough. And against the San Francisco defense that going into last week, you thought, well, no Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa for the rest of the year. This is going to be a vulnerable defense. We saw Baker Mayfield have a lot of success against them. Michael Penix could not. Now, maybe that might be more about Penix than Robert Saleh, but I trust Robert Saleh to keep this offense in check, especially probably without Nico Collins. He suffered a concussion on Monday night, so asking him to turn around and be ready for 1 p.m. Eastern start on Sunday is going to be tough. You also have Woody Marks playing more when the team is behind, when the team is in pass mode. So he's the play in the backfield here. What the heck, flex? Spoiler alert. Who you're going to plug in at wide receiver? I get we're going to see again. And Christian Kirk, by the way, has a hamstring injury. Now, Jalen Noel is a younger, better version of Christian Kirk, maybe. He had the best game last week against Seattle. So I think if you're going to dip into the wide receivers, it is a 6-team on bye week. Noel would be the guy that you want, or really the guy's going to be Dalton Schultz. I think that's the likely heavy target as it was last week, 9 catches. I think out of his last 28 targets from CJ Stroud, Schultz has caught 24 of them. At least 5 catches a game now for 4 straight games. So he is your bye-week plug-in tight end. But at the same time, when Dalton Schultz is your biggest threat in the passing game, Woody Marks is your biggest threat in the running game, well, you're probably not going anywhere.
Is it a threat? That's my question. Tampa Bay Buccaneers and New Orleans Saints. Now some good-ish news on Mike Evans. He might be back for the fantasy playoffs, having surgery on that clavicle, so put a pin in that. But in the meantime, Emeka Egbuka, you're up. And then, of course, Cade Otton. We'll watch Tez Johnson. Looks like Rachaad White. Bucky Irvin's already been declared out. So Buccaneers side against the Saints down there in your neck of the woods, Bloom, should have a pretty good day.
Trying to bounce back on a Monday night game that Detroit didn't have their whole starting secondary. It didn't matter. As Detroit's defense, hats off to Kelvin Shepard. They're not missing Aaron Glenn, but we're talking about the Tampa Bay offense in New Orleans this week. And, well, first of all, you would expect Rachaad White in the running game to do a little bit more. New Orleans had a lot of trouble slowing down the Chicago running game. Remember last year, Sean Tucker, his 192 total yard game, that came in New Orleans. So a deep what the heck flex there. We're going to see how this pass offense, actually have seen how this pass offense has adjusted without Mike Evans. But Emeka Ibuka, obviously, now he made it to that game. Bit of a surprise play on Monday night. He's going to be obviously in everybody's lineup. But I think you look at Tez Johnson as a wide receiver 3 flex this week. Has to have some room to operate downfield. And we've seen a couple of productive games in a row from him. And of course, Cade Otton has been, if the wide receivers are banged up for the Bucks, you know that he can get into the box score. He can get into your fantasy lineup. On the road to New Orleans, you'd expect New Orleans defense to just try to slow down a Tampa offense that should bounce back in this one. And Cease wonder, is this Spencer Rattler's last game as the Saints starter?
I've been wondering that since week 1. So let's talk about it, because if the Buccaneers swarm on defense, I mean, we kind of know where he's at, and not overwhelmed, but more backup caliber, which is what he should have been. But let's talk about the Saints.
Yeah, we had some nice downfield passing from Rattler last week, but also 4 turnovers. So if there's another game like that, then we might be seeing Tyler Shuck going forward. Alvin Kamara is really just a flex play, even with Kendre Miller out. We're going to see more Devin Neal, maybe more Taysom Hill as a deep what the heck tight end play. Again, with Chris Olave coming on, because Spencer Rattler was throwing well downfield in between the turnovers, maybe Juwan Johnson. Also, if Tampa jumps out to a lead like Chicago did last week, then Olave and Juwan Johnson become better plays, and a better chance for Rashid Shaheed to come through as a what the heck flex. But New Orleans, not so competitive last week. And Baker Mayfield said he just doesn't like the Saints. Probably send the Saints fans home on Sunday not liking him.
Let's talk about Dallas and Denver up next right here in part 2 of the Week 8 preview. Dallas side, Jake Ferguson's going to have, I think I projected him for 1,000,000 yards. No Dre Greenlaws. He's suspended for hurting a ref's feelings. And, Jake Ferguson, George Pickens against Riley Moss. CeeDee Lamb versus Pat Surtain. Let's get it on. Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, number 2 rusher in this league, against his former team. Start your Cowboys. Regardless of how swarming and Vance Joseph's defense, I'm starting all my Cowboys with confidence on Sunday.
Yep, a great Super Bowl rematch. Craig Morton actually started for the Cowboys and for the Broncos in the Super Bowl. Didn't win either game. Someone's got to win this game. Well, maybe not. Dallas played a 40-40 tie earlier this year. Someone's going to put up points, a lot of points. Dak Prescott, we saw Denver's defense showing some leaks last week against the Giants. So, CeeDee Lamb is back. George Pickens, maybe a tough matchup with Patrick Surtain, but it only takes one, like we saw him against Sauce Gardner earlier this year. You mentioned Jake Ferguson. All he does is score touchdowns and catch passes for 4 yards. Javonte Williams, Cecil, you've been mentioning all year, you can run on Denver. So offensive line is getting healthier. The team is getting healthier. Don't be surprised if this Dallas team starts to really come on. And this is a game where Dallas kind of cruised to win last week. Denver had to get everything they possibly could out of themselves to win last week in a big emotional game. How does that translate to a result? I know it'll be a lot of offensive success for Dallas. Cease, Denver, can they do it outside of the fourth quarter?
Yeah, exactly. How do they get off to a hot start? That's the main conversation around here in the Mile High City. So if they do get off to a hot start, what does that mean for Sutton, for J.K. Dobbins? R.J. Harvey, even with 6 teams on bye, is not a player I'm what the heck flexing. Sean Payton yesterday, when I talked to him, Bloom, he brought up Tyler Bidet unprompted.
Uh-oh.
So if you want to do like a crazy, coach mentioned his name, what the heck flex, which I do not recommend, by the way, but he did mention Tyler Bidet unprompted. So maybe Bidet gets more because RJ failed. And then we're looking to the wide receivers. I think it's Mims as a deep flex. I think it's Troy Franklin as a what the heck flex, but they've got to score points. I mean, this has to be like 35-31 sort of game for the Broncos to have any chance, and they can't do it just in the fourth quarter.
Right. Well, 33 points in the fourth quarter. I don't know. You're going to do that against Dallas. And maybe we see J.K. Dobbins get on track. We've seen Dallas's run defense look good. We've seen Dallas's run defense look bad. Facing Rico Dowdle, at least. They shut down Ja'Cory Croskey-Merritt last week. Dobbins will still be in your lineup. Nix is a high ceiling play, top 10 quarterback this week, just because he has to keep up with Prescott. Cortland Sutton should have a big game. Like you said, Mims, Franklin, you're looking for some players, looking for some punch. There's got to be some punch from these guys. If you're going to win this week, you have to plug in someone off of the waiver wire. Mims and Franklin are good picks. And Evan Ingram's steady. Evan Ingram is not the kind of player that's going to get you over the top in a game against a team like Dallas. So, we're seeing Dallas's pass rush come on a little bit. Jadeveon Clowney contributing. I know DeMarion Overshawn is going to be back soon. He's a guy that really makes some plays with his speed and his pursuit. So, again, Dallas's defense, we're kind of chuckling when they traded away Micah Parsons, maybe even chuckling that they're trying to trade for Max Crosby, which probably isn't going to happen. But we might not be chuckling at the end of this one if Denver doesn't have something left to respond after, again, expending everything they had emotionally, physically to win that game last week.
Yeah, it was a lot. Tennessee and Indianapolis. This is a one-sided game. Do we even have to talk about the Titans side?
Well, I mean, we're going to talk about the rookies, right? Kimray DK with the big plays, 4 for 70 and a touchdown last week. Can we see his role grow? And hey, if Indy jumps out to a big lead, just treat it like a practice, right? Some Alec Aomanor, Van Jefferson, maybe a what the heck flex along with DK, and then Gunnar Helm, who, even though Chig Okonkwo was on the field more, ran more routes, Helm getting more targets, contributing more on scoring drives. Remember, this team scored 13 points in the first half last week. Hey, baby steps, but they're making it. As far as a running back goes, Tony Pollard actually got more of the garbage time receptions last week. There will be garbage time in this game unless it's a shock. I do like Tyjae Spears a little better as what the heck flex this week just because of his speed, less mileage on him this year on that fast track in Indianapolis. So let's see maybe what he can do. But the only question really for Indianapolis is it a 3-touchdown game for Jonathan Taylor? Is it a 3-passing touchdown game for Daniel Jones? Maybe this is the first game where we get Tyler Warren with a rushing touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Let him throw one too.
I was going to say, let him throw it. He'll get a passing touchdown. They can do whatever you like. And with the Colts, I think I had a Daniel Jones question on Twitter or something.
Yeah.
And I believe maybe Bo Nix was the other guy. And I was like, well, Bo Nix is going to have to win in a shootout, and Daniel Jones can just hand it off to Jonathan Taylor all day.
Yeah.
So, maybe it is more of a muted day for the passing game just because, it's going to be 21-0 at halftime. So
right.
How much do they really, probably call off the dogs at some point?
Yeah, maybe 21-0 at the end of the first quarter. Get that Indy defense in.
In the first drive, they scored 21 points on the first drive just somehow. Miracle.
Right. So, yeah, Daniel Jones, again, he's arrived as a strong quarterback one every week. Jonathan Taylor is looking like a league winner. By the way, catching passes this year, too. You love seeing that. 2, 3, 4, getting in the open field on those receptions, racking up some big gains. Tyler Warren is in. Michael Pittman is in. Alec Pierce probably in for your lineup just because it only takes one as the primary deep threat. Let's see if Josh Downs is going to play. If Josh Downs plays, that does take a little bit of an edge off of Pierce's upside because a 3-branch target tree becomes a 4-branch target tree. But we know most of those targets are going to be successful against Tennessee. And for Indianapolis, again, just don't overlook this Tennessee team, and everything will be fine.
Everything will be A-OK. Let's move on to Green Bay Packers, Pittsburgh Steelers. You going to mention this Super Bowl rematch? Not only is it depressing because the Steelers lost, but it's been 15 years since they've been there. And Aaron Rodgers was the guy that got it done in 45 against the Steelers. Now he's trying to get it done against the Packers traveling to Pittsburgh. How's Jordan Love and company going to attack what the Steelers do?
It's funny, Cecil, even though this is about Green Bay's offense, it's really just about the Steelers' defense. For the second time this year, we saw the Steelers' defense look like the worst defense in the NFL. The worst defense in the NFL. Embarrassing. James Harrison said, couldn't crush a grape in a fruit fight. That's the Steelers' defense right now when James Harrison is taking it to you like that. How do they respond? So you like Jordan Love as a streamer this week. Tucker Kraft is in your lineup. Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, they're both upside plays because of the ineptitude of the Steelers' pass defense. Christian Watson, we'll see if he's activated for this game. If not, it makes it even easier to play Doubs and Matthew Golden as guys getting those targets concentrated. And then Josh Jacobs, game time decision last week. Well, I hope the decision you had was to put him in your lineup because he scored twice again. I think that's 3 straight games with 2 touchdowns. So they might move the ball through the air and then call Josh Jacobs' number near the goal line. We haven't really seen Green Bay's offense click. We haven't seen them go into upside mode except that crazy shootout 40-40 tie against Dallas. But Justin Fields has looked like a revived quarterback against the Steelers. Joe Flacco looked like a revived quarterback against the Steelers. So Jordan Love, this is your turn. Make it look good, Green Bay. Because, we have Aaron Rodgers, a game that we could not have contemplated 15 years ago. At least Rashard Mendenhall's nowhere near the field, Cease.
Poor Rashard. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers side. There is Aaron Rodgers' side of the field. So what to look for in this game at home? They're trying to slow things down. Use both of the backs to maybe play a little defense against that Green Bay offense with their offense, Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I try to do.
Right. This is where we're at with the Steelers. The best game plan is to keep your defense on the sidelines.
What's the strategy for Marvelous Lewis with one ring?
Right.
Because that's what I've taken to call Mike Tomlin. Like, hey, you're going to be good. You're not going to be great. It's been 15 years, dude. This is Steelers football. You and I have known Steelers football for a long, long time. This 15 years. You've been to Super Bowl?
Yeah.
And you lost that one, by the way. 17 since you won.
Yeah, it's been a while since they even won a playoff game. And the problem here is, again, talking about the defense, even though we're going to talk about the Steelers offense. The Steelers offense actually isn't the problem. It's
right.
In any time, you can fire guys, you can change things on the offensive side. Why don't things change on the defensive side? Well, who's in charge of the defense? It's not. It's Mike Tomlin. He's not going to fire himself. But Aaron Rodgers passing well. Calvin Austin might be back, add a little vertical dimension. But from a fantasy standpoint, we know now that Jalen Warren's the lead back in the backfield again. He's back in lineups. DK Metcalf has done enough each week, getting long touchdowns occasionally. So he's in our lineup. The three-headed tight end, the tight end Frankenstein. Cease, I said you can't play any of them last week. Play all of them. They all scored touchdowns. 2 for Pat Freiermuth. But we know that this offense with Darnell Washington, again, slow it down, try to run the ball. So that's probably more Darnell Washington. I guess if you're going to pick one, Pat Freiermuth is the hottest one coming out last week, but Darnell Washington is the one who's probably going to be on the field the most. And this is a game, Cease, where we may look back and say, remember when the Steelers were 4-1 and looked like everything was going to be good? And this is where the decline really starts, where the gap between the Steelers and good to great teams starts to show. I know the Steelers are going to have those 1930s uniforms. So, maybe that's something to talk about if this game doesn't go so well. I'm not feeling great, Cease.
Let's talk about Monday night. Commanders versus Chiefs. No Jaden Daniels. We already know that. That sucks. We're left to wonder. It's Thursday morning when we record. Do I even bring up Terry McLaurin? Full disclosure, I have Luke McCaffrey as a what the heck flex because we got Marcus Mariota in there against the Chiefs who are feeling themselves now. This one's in Arrowhead or whatever the hell they call it now. It's always Arrowhead. But it's like, all right, how many Commanders are you looking to with confidence in Week 8?
Thanks for doing that, Cease, by the way. I think a little subversive thing that we can all do is, especially if you're old enough like us to remember these places when they were called other things, like I
Before
remember
corporations started doing everything.
Exactly. Like when I saw one of the greatest fish shows of all time on December 9th, 1995, that was at the Knickerbocker Arena. That was at the Nick. It'll always be the Nick. Let's just move on. And why? Why are we talking about other things? Because we missed out. See, like you said, we could have seen Jaden Daniels against Patrick Mahomes.
Yes.
And now we're not going to get to see that, which is sad. What are some things you can do? What are some tissues you can wipe your tears with? Play the Kansas City defense against Marcus Mariota. We saw him immediately throw pick 6 last week. Not immediately, but trying to keep his team in the game. Will Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel play? It's a Monday night game, so we might not have clarity going into Sunday. I don't know if every team thinks this way, but sure seems to me like you're not going to win an Arrowhead without Jaden Daniels. Why would you risk these guys having some sort of setback with their hamstring? We'll see. So what does that leave us with? Zach Ertz, Chris Moore, Jalen Lane. How can you play Ja'Cory Cross-Merritt? Well, you You have to play them because there's 6 teams on bye, but you don't expect a lot here. You just expect a party for the Chiefs, because don't look at the records. Who cares about the records? This team right now looks like a very tough out, same as it ever was.
Yep, here we go again. It's Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes. They're always going to be dangerous. That's the thing. And now with more Roshy Rice, is the ground game figuring it out? And again, full disclosure, I have Brashard Smith as a What the Heck Flex coming soon to an Audible right near you. But like, all right, Chiefs with confidence, man, on Monday night, and they are the type of team that will just clown hammer you.
Yeah.
It's 21-0 in the first half, and then the Chiefs are just like, let's keep doing it.
Yeah. I mean, and the good news about that is this is an everybody eats offense now. So it's going to be tough week to week to predict who's going to go off. Except I'm not saying Roshy Rice is going to go off every week, but you're going to play him every week. Although last week it was clear there was an emphasis on him at the goal line, get him those touchdowns. Maybe there's not as much of an emphasis on him. Maybe Xavier Worthy, who actually led the wide receivers in snaps last week, so he should stay in your lineup. Travis Kelce is still a decent tight end playing any given week because this team is so likely to score touchdowns. Some of them are going to go to him. Maybe Isaiah Pacheco will follow up last week and score a touchdown again. He's certainly at least a flex play with 6 teams on by. And then you mentioned Brashard Smith. If we have garbage time, Brashard Smith is going to be our garbage man, and maybe you find something nice, do some dumpster diving there, as he's got an explosive play capability in the passing game while this game is in question, and then he can go ahead and clean up for us, as it will put an end to our 6 teams on bye week 8, and hopefully your team is staying alive.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to do here as the fantasy season rolls on, and you're looking over your lineups this week. 6 teams on bye. So what is this week's What the Heck flexes? They're like regular flexes,
Right.
but 6 teams on bye. My What the Heck flexes include, I have a theme, and I think it's first names. Tyler Algier, not really What the Heck flex, but kind of this week. Tyler Bidet, again, craziness. Absolutely. We're the only fantasy show almost ever talking about Tyler Bidet in week 8. Brashard Smith, Xavier Hutchinson, Xavier Legette, Luke McCaffrey. Bloom, you look over your lineups, you need that punch. Who are some of your week 8 What the Heck flexes?
Cease in a week like this, these aren't What the Heck flexes. These are your MacGyver plays. Do the kids still know? Do they know about MacGyver?
If they've watched Half Baked, they know what a MacGyver smoker is.
Yeah.
Give me an apple and a corkscrew. I've made a bong out of less, bros.
Sorry, Joe. Well, no. I mean, how many states now is that actually legal? Well, it should be illegal to play these What the Heck flexes. No, not really. Again, Tyler Algier, Woody Marks, Kyle Monungai, Tyjae Spears, Brashard Smith, maybe Ollie Gordon. I mean, the only thing that Mike McDaniel can do at this point is just run. It's Atlanta. Like, don't leave poor Tua 6 interceptions in the last 2 games out there hung out to dry. So maybe Ollie Gordon. See, she mentioned, I mean, let's go even one step deeper. Like you mentioned, Tyler Bidet, maybe Jerome Ford, Amir Abdullah in garbage time. I mean, this is in some ways the most satisfying fantasy football wins you can get. Or hey, because I picked the right guy off the bench to get me 7 points, and if I had picked someone that got 3 points, I would have lost. So maybe those are some guys that can get you 7 points. Wide receiver, and we're looking at a lot of momentum plays here from last week. Jalen Noel, Kamari Dike. Again, Mims and Franklin, Tez Johnson, Xavier Legette, Darnell Mooney, going a little deeper, like we mentioned, some of those Washington receivers, the other Tennessee receivers other than DK. So, don't cry. Let this be an opportunity for your ingenuity to shine as a fantasy football player. Perseverance is rewarded in fantasy football. And I know all of y'all out there, all of your love and how you give us your precious attention and time and let us be part of your life and become part of our life every week. That's how we persevere.
Just let your soul glow.
Yeah. Let your soul
glow. That's right. It is the Audible Week 8 preview. That is wrap. Be back on Sunday for our live recap show. And if you want to know the time, it's about an hour after the Broncos game is over. So that's where we'll be talking to you about what happened. And hopefully what happened is you got a big W in your fantasy leagues, plural. because we play in more than one. We all
Yeah.
do. He is Sigmund Bloom. You follow him on all the socials at Sigmund Bloom. I am at Cecil Lammey. The show is at The Audible, saying thanks for watching 20 years because of you. Thank you. Stay tuned, and would you please stay frosty?